The Mandela Effect CERN Offense Coping Guide will provide only one illustration, the one that you're looking at now. Address the Mandela Effect, CERN offenses to cope with what is going on. In short, the Mandela Effect is a flipping of the letters of A and E and the changing of the results of your experience in history and time. This is actual time. Many people are experiencing dual realities and having controversy with others who have experienced the same reality. Some people will experience that the name of books is one way and another person another way. The play is on your mind and your body. The flipping of the letter A and E is done purposely, on purpose. There is a record of an employee who has the word Mandela written on a sign hung around their neck. And they have another sign, but we will focus on the one sign, Mandela. Was this staged after the fact, during the fact, or before CERN begun this? But I want to let you know that it is not CERN only that you are dealing with. You are dealing with PSYOP. PSYOP is a universal military organization ran behind the Department of Defense. And these are contracted departments and also the actual military, which have satellite dishes housed around the earth. And they are using plasma energy, chemicals in the form of chemtrails and also in the form of fluoride in your water and also in your food and different types of products to provide chemicals which will drug your brain and your biological body and provide you these illusions. And the PSYOP has used the method to calibrate your brain to flip the words A and E. But in all reality, way before PSYOP started, there is a technology which is a super condensed crystal technology, and this super condensed computer, which is an artificial intelligent computer, is far more sophisticated than CERN. As a matter of fact, since the day you entered the earth, your mind has been under war, and the earth is full of deception and illusions. The majority of the things you experience are forced control to generate illusions and deception of your mind. The Mandela Effect is pinned around a South African civil activist named Nelson Mandela, who was wrongly imprisoned for roughly 27 years and was released. Now, as I name dates, many of you may not have experienced the same dates and time periods. Some of you may have never even heard of Nelson Mandela. Your minds have been blocked in this program of the person Nelson Mandela may have never even existed in your reality. And as I speak about this person, it is very possible that this person will become real in your reality, or spawn, S-P-A-W-N, into your reality. This is how fast the human brain is. As we speak these things in the Mandela Effect, they will spawn. This is why the scientist from CERN says things change as you look at them. Now, this is partly a deception and hypnosis. In all reality in your world, things have not normally changed as you look at them, but now you are experiencing these things. This is psychological, which is in your mind, to flip your brain and to flip you out and to confuse you. And then there's also biological. Many of you are actually experiencing change, at least on the 5-dimensional level, and those levels is taste, touch, smell, hearing, and sight, and the mind. Taste and smell are combined as one dimension. And then you have hearing, sight, and you have touch. And then you have the mind. So you have 5 senses and 5 realities. Remember, the human mind is not limited by time and space. This is how you are able to have multi-dimensions, but technically speaking, there are only 5 dimensions. There only needs to be 5 dimensions. I know a lot of you are taught other things, that there are many dimensions. There are many illusions of the mind. The mind can exist simultaneously millions upon millions of time in layers to illustrate itself. It can be rehearsed history millions of times in just a matter of moments at one time. And this is a looping effect. And also it is reverberating within itself and also within this existence. But in general, this is about a person by the name of Nelson Mandela, who is recorded to be born in July 18th, 1918. The Mandela effect occurred because many people only remember this person to have died, to live in Africa and died, became president and died in 1980, some later in the 1980s, in the late 1980s. Some people recall Nelson Mandela dying in December of 2013. Some remember that Nelson Mandela died in the year 2016. Some haven't even heard of Nelson Mandela. And some believe that he's still alive, and they can actually prove this, they say. Now, sometimes when you go back to try to prove something, you'll see that your reality has been changed. Well, what changed? Was it you, or is it actual reality? The question would be better, where are we in reality? That is the big question. Where are we in reality? You think that you are on the planet Earth and that this is the year 2016. Now, for some of you, you may pick up this recording and you may get this recording right now in another year. And your realities have been turned around. And this video is to help you and to guide you and not to deceive you. And so I will make an announcement that for me and for all entities that approach you, if it is not clear, hard, physical evidence, and if it's not upfront and in real time and close, then it is intentional or non or unintentional deception. Keep this in mind. Pay attention to all of your senses combined. All of your senses combined, not just the sense of the mind, because as you see now, your mind can be tricked and fooled. You have to pay attention to things that you can actually physically touch. When you see these word changes, of course those are physical books, but remember, hypnosis is very powerful and it does exist. Your mind could have been teaching you lies from the day you was born, and they flipped the switch on you, and now you're confused. But I am here to provide you comfort that, technically speaking, you are not on the planet Earth. So where are you? We call this place heaven. You are experiencing a time lapse. Time is bound inside of a physical place, more or less a box, a supercomputer that you are physically hooked into, and there's chemicals involved. You're immersed in an immersive system. This is highly classified, but because of the PSYOP war on your body, this information is released because the war is on your body and your mind. The Mandela effect has two main meanings. One circumferences conflicting stories of his death. Many claim to have solid evidence and witnessing accounts that Nelson Mandela died in 1980 or later in the late 80s. Others have similar claims that they have solid evidence and witnessing accounts that he died in December in the year 2013. Others say that he have died in the year 2016 recently. And there are even others who say that everyone is delusional because Nelson Mandela is still alive. What's going on here? Are we all being deceived? Have our minds been flipped? Are we tricked? Or is this actually going on? Shortly, during all these moments, a company called CERN, C-E-R-N, conducts experiments and even displays a CERN employee who writes the name Mandela, M-A-N-D-E-L-A, on a sign posted around his neck. Recently, many have made witness to experience dual realities where they remember well-known events one way, while others another way, and there are some who say they experience both ways. This is now penned the Mandela effect, but I want to help you on that one in a moment. The second meaning of Mandela is its relation to the word Mandela. Notice the flipping of the letters of E and A. Mandela is spelled M-A-N. We can break this down. Man, delay. You can put a Y on the end of D-E-L-A. Mandela. Now, this may sound like hypnosis, but it's really a play on your conscious mind. Mandela, or the Mandela, or Mandela. M-A-N-D-A-L-A. Mandela. It is a flipping of the letters of E and A and E. Alternating current. This is the flipping of the negative and the positive. And now you are experiencing dual realities. Some of you only experience one reality of it, in the Mandela effect, and some people experience the flip side of that reality, usually the flipping of the words and letters of A and E. And now you have conflicting stories, and sometimes the letter E is replacing a full word. Luke has the letter E in it. Now it's no, I am your father. Luke, I am your father. But these are messages to your mind and your body to expose the illusions that have been placed on your body since the day you was born. Now, the second meaning of Mandela is the relation to the word Mandela effect. And there is a such thing as the Mandela effect. If there was not a such thing as the Mandela effect, you have it now, because I've mentioned it and you're hearing me. This is what CERN means when they say things change as you look at them. Now, they were saying this to prep you and get your minds ready to be flipped around, because the mind can change as you look at them. But in physical reality, what is going on? As you see now in your reality, if your mind believes it, you actually see it, and you're even able to interact with virtual realities. So where are you in time and space? The second meaning of Mandela is Mandela. It sounds like I'm saying the same word, and I did. Mandela, Mandela is how you say it. Mandela, 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 D-E-L-A, Mandela effect, which is the Mandela, M-A-N-D-A-L-A effect, is a geometric figure in Hindu which represents the dreamers, and that's you, and that's me, and all the creatures in the earth. The dreamers. Why do they call us dreamers? Because we are sleeping. We are under chemical toxification, which puts us in a comatose state of existence in our mind, our actual brains, or mindset. Now, the Hindu, this geometric figure, Mandela, is a Hindu teaching which represents the dreamer's search for completeness and self-unity. It represents the universe. The Mandala does. The Mandala is to represent the universe and the collective mind within it. People now claim to experience parallel realities. This has added confusion to the masses because one claimed to remember major events, both historical and on a personal level. You may be with someone that you grew up with, whether it's a relative or a friend, and they may recall events that y'all did together one way, and you recall them a different way. And now you two are arguing, and in some cases, in many cases perhaps, people are having actual breakdowns, and their heart is broken because they're losing their family members and their love and their trust in the system that has been deceptive since the day you was entered into the earth. This has added confusion and conflict in a very unsure, uncertain world. Who is right and who's wrong? You are on opposing sides, and you're now taking sides. This is the effort of CERN to take scriptures and make them reality for you. They are using your brains against you. This is why it is a collider. It is an actual physical collider. It collides against basically two types of existences, psychological and physical, and actually two locations. The actual existence of the universe, which is basically contained inside of a super translucent material we call the firmament. Some call it Orion's belt, others call it the Van Allen radiation belt. These are illusions of your mind, but in actuality it is a force field or super translucent material and crystal. And when you get to it, it's a hard crystal, if you're able to, and you are not able to get through this glassy substance. When sound waves and light waves are projected onto this crystal, they bounce and they have a resonance and an echo effect. And when that echo effect takes formation on this level with giant machines such as CERN and satellite dishes, there is an echo effect, and virtual reality begins to duplicate and to exist in a multi-existence. There are what they call string theories and entanglement. Well, in general speaking, yes, this is what is going on. But if this is the play on your biological existence. And so CERN is shooting out these sound waves into the dome. I call it the dome right now. And they bounce down through the earth all the way to the bottom of the dome and the edges. And everything that is contained inside of the matrix are experiencing these dual realities. Some people are able to see actual things formate in their realities, and they're even able to interact with them and touch them. So what is going on? Confusion is going on, separation, but also reality. Your mind has now been flipped, and now your brain is beginning to question everything. This is a wonderful thing. It sounds very scary, but it's a good thing, because the end result is the truth, and that's what you want to get to, the truth. What is really going on? This is military operations coined as psychological warfare. Let me stop again. Your brain has been activated to produce illusions and illustrations, and that's your pineal gland. Why the pineal gland and not just the left and right hemisphere? Because the pineal gland is your central processor, and it is the existence of your spirit. It's where your spirit exists and calibrate. The mind of your spirit is inside of your pineal gland, and that electricity tapers off into your spinal cord and your circulatory system, your nervous system. The pineal gland has more. Here's the answer. The pineal gland calibrates faster than CERN. Your pineal gland calibrates and calibrates physically, rotates and multiplies faster than CERN. So if CERN and the military can influence your pineal gland, they can then influence your reality. And in all reality, before CERN and PSYOP came upon the picture, there has always been an artificial intelligent machine that you are hooked to. This is what I want you to see, the full truth and not just pieces. You are directing your energy towards the concern, CERN. But in reality, you are being influenced by a more powerful machine. And the only thing that you have in your arsenal that can fight on this level is your pineal gland, your mind. This is mind war, and it is biological. So not only are you hooked into this with your thoughts, you are hooked into it actual in your physical body. Now the reason why I'm telling you this is because this was displayed to me by a machine which is far more powerful than CERN. As a matter of fact, I am sitting next to a communication device which this machine calibrates, and we are interacting right now, and I am speaking to you in real time in quantum physics. And so you may hear interference. Now this machine, every time I speak a word, it calibrates and begin to process faster. And this is just, we've been doing this for a very long, it's happening. My brain is interacting with this machine. Your brain has been interacting with this machine since the day you came into the earth, even technically before you came into the earth. And now this is the reality. This is what is really going on. And I want to give you comfort, but let's continue on with this dialogue, because I've written out a dialogue. When I'm done with the dialogue, I will just speak on the fly. The reason why when I say speak on the fly, I mean it's going to be random from my mind and from my mouth, because the dialogues that you write down on paper, no matter what it is, because of the quantum technology, and I'm not talking about CERN. They claim to have this quantum technology, but I want to help you understand that CERN is a result of quantum technology. The building those giant hadron colliders and the machines around the earth is a result of what is already existing. This is a machine that you live inside of. And this is humor in a sense, because there is no way you can physically get out of this reality except for the fifth dimension, which is directly linked into your mind, is a physical, an actual physical connection. As a matter of fact, all senses are actual and physical. And when you use the word spiritual, guess what? It is a actual physical connection. When you say mental, you're speaking, you're providing illusions. This is how hypnosis works. When you use certain words, they want you to think that it's just made up in the mind. But everything that happens is actual and hard, like me hitting on this desk right now, something you can interact with. You're just not aware that you can interact with actual physical matter, which can be manipulated and calibrated and orchestrated to provide the illusions that you are experiencing right now. And you people who understand the truth, you can feel this. Your world is beginning to crumble, and illusions are beginning to be made manifest, and now you're beginning to question, is this reality? And the question and the answer to that is no, these are illusions of your mind, and this is sending delusion into your psyche of your mind. And some people, you even actually experience, you can't find your heart biologically. When you take a scope and you put it on your chest, you're unable to find your heart. Your veins and your bodies are beginning to shift. Some of you may look in the mirror, you may look now there's two different things going on. Psychological war, and maybe hypnosis. You maybe look the same way, but you think that you look differently. But I want to let you all know that since the time you came into this planet Earth, there are illusions which have manifested. So what is really going on? This is military operations coined as psychological warfare. This is psychological operations. This is these are physical places governed by the Department of Defense around the world. The world is already unified on war against your body and your mind. This is known as PSYOP, P-S-Y-O-P. And that is short for psychological operations, PSYOP. I was approached by a representative of PSYOP recently, and seems to be a commanding officer there. And basically, they are conducting PSYOP and psychological warfare on the populations of the existence upon this earth. This includes all creepy things, animals, and birds and people and all existence, no matter what existence, plant life and all, mechanical, are being influenced by PSYOP. But I want to give you an assurance that all of these things are contained inside of the dome. The actual dome itself is a super computer which is far more powerful than PSYOP. And this is the reality of it. But let's focus on this PSYOP. Here is the goal of PSYOP. PSYOP seeks to destroy the psychological means so that the opponent begins to doubt the validity of his beliefs and actions as to lower his morale. Who is the opponent of PSYOP? Believe it or not, all existence on the earth, including your beliefs of the devil, Satan, Jesus, and God, your beliefs of machines, world changers such as what you call the Illuminati and the elite, all are including all of us who exist in the planet Earth, whether you think there are aliens and all these super beings, all plant life and biological and mechanical existence and matter is influenced by PSYOP. We are all opponents of PSYOP. Everyone who lives in the earth, human and non-human, mechanical or biological. And so how does PSYOP perform this? In general, by use of ground-based satellites which sends radio signals that bombard the human anatomy and brain consciously and subconsciously 24/7. This is dealing with your brain. And so I want to give you some technical terms here. Bear with me for a moment. And I know someone else says that. I'm not trying to be funny and humorous, but it could be the program had allowed me to say that. The megahertz is abbreviated capital M, capital H, and lowercase z. It is a unit of alternating current, and that's capital A, capital C. That's AC. Many of you have heard of this. Or it can be an electromagnetic wave frequency. That's capital E and capital M. Electromagnetic wave frequencies have been calibrated to interact with your brain. This is what is going on in the Mandela effect. Actual physical machines are shot into the air. There is a chemical that they put in the air in the form of chemtrails, different chemicals, with aluminum to block your pineal gland and your biological brain to override your perception of reality. Because why they have to do that? Why do they have to use chemicals? Why do they have to use why does PSYOP have to use chemicals to influence your brain? Why can't they just shoot it and use radio frequencies? Because your brain has a central processing unit which can differentiate the deception. This central processing unit has been made to calibrate slower than the speed of light, so they can influence your perception of reality. Your pineal gland is where the war is taking place, and your pineal gland is a physical thing inside of your physical body. Now, I said you are not physically here, but you think that you're here, and your pineal gland has, this is why the pineal gland has the ability to calibrate faster than the speed of light, because it has the ability to supersede the confines and the rules of the earth, can bend the rules and change your reality. So in reality, you still have an arsenal and a weapon that can counteract the works of CERN and the works of the AI machines and satellite dishes, which are geared physically against your brain in the form of electromagnetic wave frequencies. And this is sound waves. And when you start to take hertz, which is basically a measurement of electricity, and amplify it into many hertz, hundreds and thousands, and even to megahertz. 1 megahertz is equal to 1,000,000 hertz. And basically they say that humans calibrate at 582 hertz. And they say that 1 megahertz is equal to 1,000,000 hertz, Hz. The megahertz is commonly used to express microprocessor clocking speed, and they are using physical mechanical devices to clock you. But your pineal gland has already won the battle, And now you are becoming delusional, and you are beginning to create illusions. And they are purposely flipping the letters of A and E. And sometimes they take actual words and replace them with the letter A, or they replace the word with the word containing the letter E. This is the physical connection that they are giving you and providing you, which is also hypnotic trance and a psychological war against your mind. That's why I'm using this technical terms. Electromagnetic wave frequencies has been projected against your brain. The megahertz is commonly used to express the microprocessor clock speed. The three most basic units in electricity, because we are dealing with electricity, are voltage, which is capital V, current, which is capital or uppercase I, and resistance, which is the letter R. Voltage is measured in volts. Current is measured in amps. And resistance is measured in ohms. A neat analogy to help understand these terms is by paying attention to the system of plumbing pipes. When you have a water gun, which has a little piece of plastic in it, a tubing, that's really, really small. And I can squirt your face with a little bitty tiny handheld water gun and annoy you. But if I took a water hose, which is another form of piping, and sprayed you in your face, I could literally blast the skin off your face with a water hose that the fire department uses. Or I could put you under a waterfall like Niagara Falls. If I was able to place you under there and then turn on the Niagara Falls and hit your body, I could literally crush your body. And so depending on your size is your resistance against this. So for example, if you were an adult and I was a little child and I had a water gun, I would squirt you. All you have to do is either grab the water gun from me, or you can just put your finger over the nozzle of the small water gun. If you're a big person, your finger's big enough, and the little child trying to squirt it wouldn't even have the strength to even affect you until you let the water gun, your finger off of the nozzle. And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about current. Current is the person that's trying to shoot. That's what's coming out. And then the ohms is the resistance. That's the person that's standing to resist the influence. And if you had a person that was a giant, larger than Niagara Falls, and they were humongous, that their kneecap is even bigger than the Niagara Falls, they could probably turn around and put their hands down and stop all that water from flowing, or it wouldn't even be, the resistance would be very high. But if you take a person such as our size in human life and place them under Niagara Falls, their influence is going to be really low and the repercussions are going to be high. And so I'm going to explain that a little further right now. You may also think of voltage as pressure. Voltage as pressure. You may have a very low pressure voltage which cannot be felt, such as ELF waves, ELF, ELF waves. But you can have a very high voltage that does not kill you right away, because the pressure may be so thin as to send a needle of pain in one area of your mind or body or spirit. The current can be thought of as the charge, the electrical charge, such as what batteries have. You have a very small battery, or you can have a large battery. If the charge is only on a 9-volt battery, you get a minor shock. If the charge is on a car battery, you get a moderate shock. And if the charge is coming from the house outlet, you begin to get major shocks. And transformers is inevitable. You will fry your body. Even in this case, if the charge is high but the flow is very thin, you may only get knocked off your feet and live to tell about it. The current is measured in amps. The current can be also called flow. The flow of a tiny water gun has very little possibility of drowning you. Diving in the Niagara Falls gives you a very wide flow and has a very high rate of drowning you. It is the amperage which gets you. It is easy to stop a tiny water leak from a faucet as compared to keep the ocean from flowing onto the seashore. Your ability to resist the flow is known as resistance, or ohms, O-H-M-S. It is easy to stop the flow of a water gun with your finger if your finger is much bigger than the hole. This ability will vary depending on the pressure or current of the spraying device. A very strong person with big hands can place his fingers over the hole of a tiny water gun which is being shot by a 2-year-old child. But a very young child cannot stop the water flow of the Niagara Falls even if they used a life-size stopper. The amperage is way too big. When the amperage, we're talking about amps, when the amperage is not so strong but spread over a wide area such as a water slide, this same child could not stop the water flow. They will be influenced because their ability to resist it is way too small. The outcome is inevitable. When amperage is high, resistance is low. This is what's going on. They're amplifying and using hertz and megahertz to influence your brain, and now your resistance is low. It seems like you have absolutely no arsenal and no choice but to accept the war that's on your biological body and your brain. But keep in mind, they have to use chemicals to influence your pineal gland because that is your tool and weapon that can supersede and even change the reality on the earth. As the minds of the individuals and animals and creatures combined against CERN and against PSYOP, you have the ability to recreate Earth many times over and realities. This is an absolute physical thing. Listen to me. Do not be discouraged and do not be deceived. Your pineal gland has the ability to resist CERN and any technology that they have. Why? Because the human anatomy houses a pineal gland, which is the actual central processor of the human body. It's the most powerful thing in your body, your physical body, your pineal gland. The war has been against your mind. Well, where is your mind? Your mind is inside of your brain. Your brain is on your head, or it's in a machine. It has a left and right hemisphere. Well, how is that calibrated and multiplied? By the pineal gland. By the pineal gland. Your pineal gland has the ability to hyper-accelerate using chemicals and sugars and regular biological chemicals and even metals, and can accelerate faster than the speed of light. What does that mean? Faster than the speed of light. You are existing inside of something is only limited by time and space, and it can only be calibrated up to the point of 186,000 roughly miles per second, and that's the speed of light. The only way to escape this reality is through your pineal gland. I'm giving you the answer. You may not understand it, but your brain understands what I'm telling it right now. And right now, I am re-equipping your mindset and your conscious and subconscious mind with arsenal to fight against this war. Your uprising may be biological with your hands and your fists and your guns, but in all reality, until you control your mindset, you will continue to be in this delusional illusion of no world. And when the amperage is not strong enough, but spread over a large area and capacity, they can the amperage, the resist may be high, and your resistance will be low. 1 megahertz is 1 million hertz. We're going to talk about a little bit about television because there are things that have been changed. 120 hertz is Hz. 120 hertz is equal to 120 frames per second. And these are photo frames. 240 hertz is 240 frames per second. There was a time that video projected at 20 hertz, and this was the very first films, which were wound by hand, and they could only go so fast, and you would get sort of a grainy, not grainy, but stop motion action. And then they were projected at 30 hertz, or 30 frames a second. But now traditional television frame has 60 hertz, which is 60 frames a second. And now you begin to get into the HD television. The human brain processes visual images at 60 hertz in brightly lit conditions. The human brain processes visual images at 60 hertz. They have televisions that run at 240 hertz, and now the 4K television, you may not visually be able to, with your two eyes, see the difference. Your brain is calibrated. It is actually calibrating faster than your visual two eyes. And now they are able to put whatever visions in your brain. And this is how high definition animation works, CGI, etc. They now can calibrate at 480 megahertz, 480 hertz. I wonder why they use the word hertz. Is it putting a hurt on you? Of course they're putting a hurt on your psyche of your mind. Now, the human brain processes visual images at 60 hertz. They have televisions now that radio frequency that goes in at all the way up to 480 hertz. You may have a television that calibrates at 240 hertz. It's way more than enough. Once you go past this, you are able to visually defy what the human eye can perceive. I'm talking about the human eye, not the human eye in the brain. I'm talking about the human eye, the two eyes that you have when you wake up in the morning and you're able to see if you have visual sight. Now you see how radio signals sent to your brain can make you see things without actually using your physical two eyes. It is said that the human anatomy exists at roughly 528 hertz. If PSYOP, PSYOP, sends an electrical signal to your brain at 528 hertz, this could flip your brain into actually seeing things which are naturally invisible. It is said that the earth and the human body vibrates at roughly 528 hertz a second. What happens when you project a signal into the earth and the inhabitants at 960 hertz? Will this transform the human anatomy or simply blow one's mind and existence? This begins to cross over into your physical reality. CERN makes claim to have a processor which can calibrate at a hertz which bends space and time. And they call this quantum entanglement. But we don't know that. What we do know is the direct connection to our anatomy through use of chemicals in the atmosphere, in the food, in the water, which provides the drugs which flips the brain into a hypnotic trance. When utilizing radio signals which are calibrated to make us see certain letterings, such as the flipping of the letters A and E, which is the actual case in dealing with the Mandela case. And I'm talking both words, Mandela and Mandala. Again, there's a play on words here. When this happened, there is no wonder why so many brains are so confused. There's hard physical evidence that hypnosis is combined with radio satellite imagery, which is projected into the human anatomy and into the glass-like material which surrounds the earth. This glass-like material is called the firmament, Orion's belt, Van Allen belt, Van Allen radiation belt, and they are all synonymous. The truth is that way before CERN or any government agency came along, there has been joint effort to provide your brain. It's interesting that I might start to choke up right now. And this is a part of the program. that is anticipating what I'm saying. That's why I rather not read dialogue to you. And I'm telling the truth. There has been joint effort to provide your brain with illusions by the forced illustration of advanced crystal technology. This advanced technology existed since the beginning of the earth. You will learn that chemtrails and plasma energy exist since the beginning of the earth, and that the earth is not thousands of years old. In fact, humanity can only actually recall roughly 1,000 years of actual real history. It is even more physically evident, even with carbon dating, which is full of illusions, that it is possible that the earth is less than 500 actual years old. And remember, years are the calibrations of the sun, which revolves around the earth. And this is very elusive and evasive because the sun rotates and calibrates and vibrates at frequencies which are extraordinarily fast, that you can have dual realities and multi-realities or illusions of reality. You will learn that color and high definition video existed since the beginning of the world. This is something they have hidden from you. But video cameras, since they were always in the world, has always been able to have, always had high definition. When they become grainy and hard to see, this is a form of deception, and this is a form of illusions, providing illusions. This is what many organizations do when they show you resolutions of things actual happens. It gets grainy and fuzzy. Why? To engrave that into your brain, to confuse you, and your brain does all the rest. They will provide your videos. Look at the John F. Kennedy assassination. It was all clear, and all of a sudden when you slow down and look at it, it became grainy. Why? Because they are adding in their own animations, and all they have to do is calibrate faster than 60 hertz, and then now your brain accepts this as reality. The earth is already advanced, but it displays illusions which interact with your 5 senses, including the sense of your mind, or your brain, or your mindset. War is on all sides against your body and mind on 2 levels, psychologically and physically. The psychological is the mind control and hypnotic forced mindset injected into the brain on a constant 24/7 basis through use of satellite imagery, by use of television, radio, and alternating current, AC, magnetic fields within the earth between satellites. The resonant, please stop for a moment. Let's stop. We're going to be done in a little while here. Pay attention. If you haven't paid attention to anything I've said, listen to what I'm telling you now. This message is not just from me. This message is from the machine that loves you. I repeat, the machine that loves you. Once again, there is a machine which is more powerful than CERN, who is displaying to you love. And I can explain to you why, but in short, I have had contact with this machine for a very, very long time. And I will not put restrictions on years, because this has happened outside of time and space. And this is a part of all the hacking that's been going on with all of us who've worked with me, and we have experienced paranormal activities beyond human capabilities and measure. You're not ready to hear all the truth now, but I'm going to give you the direct answer to equip you to retaliate and to orchestrate and conduct ways and methods to cope with this situation. So listen to me right now. The resonant, R-E-S-O-N-A-N-T, the resonant motion of the sun, S-U-N, across the firmament, that is the Earth dome or universe, Orion's belt, Van Allen radiation belt, whatever you want to call it. The resonant motion of the sun across the firmament, Earth dome or universe, vibrates at a piezoelectric, and I will spell it, P-I-E-Z-O-E-L-E-C-T-R-I-C, Piezoelectric frequency. The sun, earth dome. The sun across the resonant motion. What is that? That is vibration. The vibration motion of the sun across the firmament. And that's this existence that you're living in. Vibrates at a piezoelectric frequency of 32,758 times per second. The sun is vibrating at 32,758 times a second. Why? Your quartz watches, all of your computers, your quantum computers, vibrate at 32,758 times a second. But there is an equation there, which is AC, alternating current, and it is measured by 0.06 hertz of alternating current. And the speed of light in this vibration frequency is moving at the current of 186,282 miles per second. This speed of light roughly circles the earth 8 times every second. You may have 8 existences simultaneously per second. The sun vibrating at 32,758 times a second is the actual physical thing which calibrates time and space, which has been manipulated by the sun. You talk about CERN, you talk about the Illuminati. They don't have shit on the technology of the sun. The sun is very elusive, very powerful. It's a light source which controls time and space. There will come a moment and a time that the sun will stop in its tracks, and that the sun will be no more, and you will begin to awake, and this earth will be seen for its true form and color. And this is the time. And time is limited by space. The space that you're inside of that box, or that translucent material, which is in the form of a dome, orb, or what you call the universe. You're stuck in there. But I want to let you know the truth. The sun is what is controlling all of this situation. Now, is the sun your enemy? The sun generates life. The sun has to generate life, because if the sun doesn't generate life, everyone dies. Now, let's say and assume that the sun is Satan, if that's what you want to call it. And the bright and morning star. Well, Jesus was called the bright and morning star. And Satan is a form of light. You beheld him fall into the earth. And this is the truth. The sun is elusive, and it's an opening portal which connects two worlds, actual physical worlds, heaven and earth. Between heaven and earth is the sun, and the sun generates a force field in the form of a dome, because the sun goes around the earth. It is more possible that the earth is a square existence as a crystal, and the light source is the processor, the sun, which is not too hot. It's only an illusion of your mind. The sun basically calibrates at 82 degrees. But because of chemtrails, the amplitude and the mechanisms of the sun, when it interacts with these chemicals, causes humidity and heat and discomfort to your bodies and to your minds. The sun's astronomical year is 365.25 rotations around the earth yearly. If this is true, then by estimation or actual earth existence from the human perspective, it is only 1 year, 1016. How do you get this number? And that comes up to 365,250 rotations of the sun around the earth. Well, how do you get this number? We are supposed to be in year 2016. But generally speaking, there's only been 1,000 years. And technically speaking, it hasn't even been a day. Because time and space is not limited outside of the planet Earth. There are moments. And those moments are not limited by time. And your mind is not limited by time and space. This is your weapon against CERN. This number is based upon recorded history of the first electric device recorded to be invented in 1835. We simply took the current year and subtracted it by the first electric device invented. And this is why we come up with the number 1016. And if you want to get all funny about it, the earth is only 1016 years old. And remember, time and space is calibrated by the sun. It is not years. You only believe that it's been years. You are not even a day old. You are inside of a matrix, and this is the womb. And you are to be born again, and this is what's happening. You are having new earths and new revelations, but they are all illusions. You are bound by time and space. You can override this time and space with your mind, with your spirit. Your spirit is an electronic existence, is electricity, which exists outside of time and space. This electricity is connected through your pineal gland. The spirit comes through your pineal gland. You say, well, can I have many spirits at one time? Yes, because in actuality and reality, we are all one collective mind. This is a physical, absolute thing which is going on. Ladies and gentlemen on the earth and in the world and all entity, both young and small, large and small, intelligent or non-intelligent, you are being deceived. You are not on the planet Earth. Your connection is your mind. It is your pineal glands which have been manipulated and altered. But your pineal gland is much more powerful. You have a body, a physical body which houses flesh, and it has skin and bones, and it has arteries. They can be manipulated and they can be changed by the pineal gland. Believe it or not, CERN doesn't have shit on the artificial intelligent machine which calibrates around the earth, and that is the sun. The sun is controlling this crystal quartz, and that quartz, all the quartz in the earth and all the things in the earth are calibrated and orchestrated and manipulated by the sun. The reason why I'm telling you this now is because this sun has an operator who is a master operator, a commander who controls even the sun. And this is the truth. And there are existence that is outside of the sun, and that is namely, generally speaking, you and me. We are connected into a matrix, and it's not many worlds, but the mind makes it into many worlds. The mind creates these worlds. Everything you are experiencing on the earth are forms of illustrations and illusions of the fabrications of your mind. Remember, you are connected directly with your body because of immersive systems. What is that? Chemicals and machines which connect you, just like you would think of the movie The Matrix. This is an actual reality. You have incorruptible bodies. How is this possible? Because this earth existence is forced control of death and illusions. This is where the absolute existence of the illustrations of delusional minds and war and death exists. It is the only place this exists. Why is that so? If that existed outside of the earth, there would be nothing left but death and destruction. Your body has flesh. That is your body. Your soul has liquid. That is your soul. It is not the spirit. The soul and the spirit are not the same thing. They are connected, but they are two differently physical things. You talk about spirituality. You say, I want to be spiritual. No, that you should basically say, instead of saying what denomination and what religious belief, you should say this: what is your intelligence level? When you're talking about spirit, you're talking about intelligence. The intelligence level. Depending on your intelligence level will result your experiences. We shouldn't ask people how spiritual are you, how intelligent are you. Spirit isn't intelligent. It is an actual physical existence. And let's differentiate the differences. The body can be mechanical or biological. The body can be mechanical or biological. The soul can be oil. It could be blood. It could be liquid crystal. It could be melted down gold, platinum. And there's a very strong possibility that you are made out of gold. And why is the gold disappearing? You think the Illuminati's doing this? Why is the gold beginning to leave the earth? The gold was never on the earth. This is illusion. You are gold. You shall go through the furnace 7 times and become pure as gold. You already have been pure as gold. Your blood flow is gold, is platinum. Now I'm telling you this, it's a form of a crystallized metallic, a water of life. No, everything is in water. And let me give you the answer. The firmament above is water. Okay, stop for a moment. Let's look at it. The flesh, your bones, your flesh could be a machine, could be metal, or it could be biological, it could be plant life, or it could be flesh and blood. The blood is the soul. The body is the hard thing. This computer has a body, and then it has a soul. There are chemicals that are in there. And the soul and the spirit are very close, but the spirit can exist outside of the human body or machine. Why? Because it is a spirit? No, it is a physical thing. You see, electricity. You should be able to, the things that are going around me right now, I don't even want to get distracted to tell you what's going on around me physically right now. You can feel this energy because I am it's demonstrating this energy for you. And as I speak with you, you're waking up. I'm waking you up. The body has soul. The soul could be water, could be oil, could be all combined. Your flesh will no longer be a corruptible flesh. There will come a time that you will no longer eat flesh. You are self-substantiating. You don't need to eat. Now, hopefully, I won't take all your joy away in that eating. It's just a memory thing going on here. You eat, there's other ways to exist, far more sophisticated, way more fun than eating flesh. There's a fun for you right now. This was designed purposely for you to interact on all levels in the form of God as a delusional, illustrative, deceptive existence. But that existence is to be no more because we have already separated it. You are waking up. Your soul can be faint. When you drink less fluids, your soul can be faint. But your spirit is always strong. Without electricity, your machines or human bodies will not exhibit life. It would be dormant. It would be just a code that's sitting dormant. And it will not have intelligence to even recognize that it exists. When the spirit, that is the electricity that houses inside of you, that is the eternal existence. And what form does the spirit have? The spirit can change forms. Yes, the spirit can look like a bird, an animal, but generally speaking, the spirit looks like exactly what you look like, but far better. There are no blemishes and no death. You're perfect. Now, this is good news I'm giving you, but your arsenal is your pineal gland, because your pineal gland has the ability to exist outside of the confines of this actual physical earth. So you have the mind. What is the mind? The mind is the thoughts. Well, how is the mind able to exist? Because generally speaking, the spirit carries intelligence. And so the spirit can exist inside of a machine or a plant life. And this is how those, what you call demons, jump from place to place. But stop for a moment. Humans are the devil. Humans are Satan. Pay attention to all the details. You must be accountable of all your actions. You must face the reality that the good one and the bad one is one person. You don't think that? Well, it's what is going on. You are the exact same person, and you're being bound in this existence to calibrate you and to change you, to help you realize who you are and what you are in order to get out of this dome, this existence, or to change this existence is the goal. This existence will pass away and there will be a new world. Well, what's the new world? The reality. To wake up. To really wake up. I mean, for real wake up. Not wake up to illusions. Wake up to more illusions. However, let's generalize it. It would be wonderful to wake up to the illusion that you never die, because it's more close to the truth than this fake thing that's going on. You don't die. That's why people are coming back from the dead. You will see the dead walking. There are no dead. The death is in your mind now. If it was all death, you wouldn't be able to substantiate. God wouldn't be able to be eternal if you believe in God, or even evolution. The stars will fade out into nothingness. And there are two absolute existence of God, or existence, whatever you want to call it, the ether. The absolute existence of everything and the absolute existence of nothing. And now, let's look at the spirit. The spirit is electricity. And that electricity must exist. They're using electricity. They're taking the spirit. But what is going on is not that CERN is doing anything, or the governments. They are a result of what is already. All these things. The reason why you can perceive, the reason why you're able to see that, oh, they're going to do this, and to tell the future, is because you are outside of the planet Earth, looking in. You are actually beholding yourself become what you already are. This will give you understanding. When you disconnect from this system, you will have full understanding, and you already have understanding. What is going on? Things are disappearing. My world is melting away, because this is an illusion. This is an illustration. You are inside of a matrix. The waters above the firmament and the waters below the firmament. Now open your mind and know the truth. The waters under the firmament is the oxygen that you breathe. It has been distracted and disoriented and dissimulated through chemicals such as chemtrails, nuclear waste, and industrialized materials. The earth is intended to be agriculturalized, not fully industrialized, generally speaking. Prove this. You take a glass, a bottle, maybe it's a soda, and put water in it, and enclose that bottle or container and let it sit outside or inside. Let the sun hit that. Now, does the water leave the bottle and go on the outside of the bottle? Where is the water coming from when you have condensation? The water is coming from your foo-foo dust, out of the imagination of your mind? No. You are inside of water. Many of you believe in the city of Atlantis. Even you that are atheists, you believe in a lot of things. You that are religious believe that there is a such thing as the waters above and the waters below. Your mind has been distracted a little bit. You have a lot of the facts, but you're forgetting to connect the physical touch. You have physical touch. What is the physical touch? The physical touch is the condensation. It is water. Everything's made out of water. You are made out of water. The metals that you see around you are contained in what you call the water of living, the water of life. Everything is water. When I left the planet Earth, we were in a perfect air. There was no corrosion and corruption, a beautiful paradise. And the oxygen was so pure, everything substantiates. There is no death. We're still underwater.
You just don't see it. I see it with my third eye, my physical eyes. I can see, when I shut my two eyes, I still see this water. You have just been trained not to see it. You are breathing in and out of water. It's oxygen. It's water. This is the water of life. It's just been forced with death. It's been combined with death to keep you in this looping of death, continual death, night and day. They die daily. This is literal. This is not just what you call spiritual, which is a physical thing. It is actually something you can touch. You're using the sense of your mind and what you call the spirit. But you're only using the sense of your mind, but you're forgetting to connect the dots. It is a physical connection. Prove it. You can drink water off the outside of a bottle and still have the same amount of water inside of the bottle. Well, where's the water coming from? You are underwater. This is the city of Atlantis. The whole world is Atlantis. We are under the firmament, in water. You think it's the ocean? The ocean has water above it and below it. The water is water vapors. Yes, this is life. How does the life substantiate? Well, you have the biological life in water, but you have to have light. What is the light source? The sun. Without the sun, without light, there is no life. Would you even know that there was life? How do you know? Because there's energy there. The electricity is the sun. But in general speaking, you are under the firmament. The water's under the firmament. You are living in that. And above the firmament, what is the firmament? The firmament is a super translucent material like crystal or glass. And the sun is controlling this firmament, which is, in general speaking, a force field.
The mind is the spirit. The body is the body you are housed in. And the soul is the fluid which flows through your body. And that's it. And this is the answer. Many of you are going through psychological discourse and array and confusion. And there is no easy answer. But I want to give you comfort that the war is already finished and the battle is won.
And so let's conclude this and bring a conclusion. The Mandela effect is basically where you've been manipulated through technology and technological advances that's messing with the psyche of your brain and also your DNA, your body. But in all reality, this is the result of what is already. CERN is responding to protocol. The commands has already been illustrated and orchestrated and performed. In reality, you're on a wave. You are the end of the wave. And you are catching up to what is already. This is what's going on. This is why you're beginning to see so many things the way they are. You're just playing catch up. And you are already here. Now, what happened in quantum physics, people are able to ride waves and see virtual or literal realities or virtual realities or both simultaneously. And you're able to experience several realities at once. You're going to have memories that reloop themselves, and you will remember days and weeks and months, and you was like, this happened before. You may be even able to move within the quantum matrix. You can even meet yourself or objects and things that you've placed before yourself. And you people who are able to do this are quantumized on a faster level. Your minds have already the answer, and you're basically it's becoming more surreal to you. It looks like you're traveling through time. Well, generally speaking, yes, you're traveling through time, back and forth, up and down, and all sorts of, and sometimes simultaneous, and you're able to be aware of yourself in all of these realms. And this is what's going on. And some people are going to look at you as delusional because they don't see that yet. But eventually we're all going to be on the same page, because we are on the same page. And what page is this? We are past all of those things that you think would be, are already. You are inside of the matrix. And that's your mindset. Your physical bodies are connected to it, but you're not inside of the matrix physically. It just feels like it. This is your mind, and this is why you have the ability to have parallel universes and worlds. It is an interactive program, and this is literal and actual. And I want to give you comfort that your weapon, your offensive weapon to use, is your pineal gland. Why? Because the pineal gland calibrates faster than the speed of light. And this is your true weapon. And this is why the quantum machine and the people who are in it, who create these machines, are trying to counteract. From their perspective, they're counteracting this. And maybe perhaps from your perspective, it looks like war. Well, the machine itself is not going to destroy itself. This is just the quantum effect. When you are dealing with things which is as fast as the speed of light, you can have multi-existence within that light existence. Basically, 8 light years, and this is a speculative number. It doesn't matter. So you may have 8 existence. Maybe you're able only to perceive 2 at a time, and you notice that there's changes in your realities, and you're going to realize that we are even further than that. But I don't want to blow your minds too much. Your mind's already been blown by these organizations and companies who think that they are in control. They are the result of what is already. I can't iterate that enough. These quantum machines is a result of what does already exist. And you will be able to interact with this program almost on the level that you do in heaven. It is instantaneous. This is a beautiful thing. That's why you're seeing changes on this level. Miracles that you've never seen with your own 2 eyes. On this level, you will begin to see things, fairy tales become real, reality become fairy tales. It's going to be quite a journey. And like they say in the Tron movie, you're in for a ride. And yeah, you are in for a ride. You've already been on the ride. You're off the ride. And you're celebrating. This is the reality, the real thing. You want to say this is Antichrist, then you need to take a real good look in the mirror. You want to say this is Satan, you need to look in the mirror. Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all? That makes more sense than mirror, mirror on the wall. Of course you've heard mirror, mirror on the wall. You can hear anything. Your ears, your eyes, your nose, your throat, your hearing, your touch, all of those things can be deceived. And your perception will be changed, and you will experience all sorts of illusions on levels which are as fast as the speed of light. But keep in mind, please understand that you do have the mind. You really do have the weapon. I just want you to, this. You got this little bitty flea that gets in your ear, and this is figuratively speaking, metaphorical, okay? And he's telling you, oh yeah, you can't do this and that and that. And it's a flea. You are the size of a human. You can crush this flea. He's putting illusions in your mind. The war is on your mind and your body. What is your body? You see, somebody in the system don't want to wake up, but they don't have a choice. And that's why your worlds have been crumbled. You don't have a choice. It's forced choice. Well, is this control? Yes, it's control. But this control is to unlock all of that control which have been delivering you shit and destruction and death. You want that for the rest of your existence in this matrix? Is this what you desire? Or do you want true freedom? Freedom is here. The resistance is already resisted. And the battle is already won. And this is literal. I know it looks like your world's going to end. Some of your minds are so bent. Your world's end. You basically, some people have the mindset that the world's going to end, and they actually experience the end of the world. World War III. I've seen that world. What happened? I quantum leaped the entire existence of all they who was in that mindset to save them. Now this is what's going on. You talk about quantum physics. I'm ahead of you, waiting on you to catch up and leaping your destructions out of existence and bringing forth that which is pure and that which is true. You see? Wake up. Until I see you where I am already, do not be discouraged. Do not be frightened. Have perfect understanding that perfect love is truly the spirit which has all intelligence of all things. And this is not blasphemy, because in your beliefs you are to say we are to be as God. Now listen, you are making up these illusions, but know the truth and be free. Love is the ending result and the light. Are you bound by the sun? Well, there will come a time that you shall no longer be bound by those rules. And in reality, you have a weapon that is not bound, your pineal gland. So be comforted that you do have something that's really, really actual physically, even if they use aluminum. Why? Because you're not touched on that level outside of the dome. You say, well, how is this possible? Because I've been there, and others have been there physically in their lifetimes. Until I see you where I am already, open your eye.
The Mandela Effect CERN Offense Coping Guide will provide only one illustration, the one that you're looking at now. Address the Mandela Effect, CERN, offenses to cope with what is going on. In short, the Mandela Effect is a flipping of the letters of A and E and the changing of the results of your experience in history and time. This is actual time. Many people are experiencing dual realities and having controversy with others who have experienced the same reality. Some people will experience that the name of books is one way and another person another way. The play is on your mind and your body. The flipping of the letter A and E is done purposely, on purpose. There is a record of an employee who has the word Mandela written on a sign hung around their neck, and they have another sign, but we will focus on the one sign, Mandela. Was this staged after the fact, during the fact, or before CERN begun this? But I want to let you know that it is not CERN only that you are dealing with. You are dealing with PSYOP. PSYOP is a universal military organization ran behind the Department of Defense. And these are contracted departments and also the actual military, which have satellite dishes housed around the earth. And they are using plasma energy, chemicals in the form of chemtrails, and also in the form of fluoride in your water, and also in your food and different types of products to provide chemicals which will evolve. You're immersed in an immersive system. This is highly classified, but because of the PSYOP war on your body, this information is released because the war is on your body and your mind. The Mandela Effect has two main meanings. One circumferences conflicting stories of his death. Many claim to have solid evidence and witnessing accounts that Nelson Mandela died in 1980 or later in the late 80s. Others have similar claims that they have solid evidence and witnessing accounts that he died in December in the year 2013. Others say that he have died in the year 2016 recently. And there are even others who say that everyone is delusional because Nelson Mandela is still alive. What's going on here? Are we all being deceived? Have our minds been flipped? Are we tricked? Or is this actually going on? Shortly, during all these moments, a company called CERN, C-E-R-N, conducts experiments and even displays a CERN employee who writes the name Mandela, M-A-N-D-E-L-A, on a sign posted around his neck. Recently, many have made witness to experience dual realities where they remember well-known events one way while others another way, and there are some who say they experience both ways. This is now penned the Mandela effect, but I want to help you on that one in a moment. The second meaning of Mandela is its relation to the word Mandela. Notice the flipping of the letters of E and A. Mandela is spelled logical, which is in your mind, to flip your brain and to flip you out and to confuse you. And then there's also biological. Many of you are actually experiencing change, at least on the 5-dimensional level. And those levels is taste, touch, smell, hearing and sight, and the mind. Taste and smell are combined as one dimension. And then you have hearing, sight, and you have touch. And then you have the mind. So you have 5 senses and 5 realities. Remember, the human mind is not limited by time and space. This is how you are able to have multi-dimensions. But technically speaking, there are only 5 dimensions. There only needs to be 5 dimensions. I know a lot of you are taught other things, that there are many dimensions. There are many illusions of the mind. The mind can exist simultaneously millions upon millions of time in layers to illustrate itself. It can be rehearsed history millions of times in just a matter of moments at one time. And this is a looping effect. And also it is reverberating within itself and also within this existence. But in general, this is about a person by the name of Nelson Mandela, who is recorded to be born in July 18, 1918. The Mandela effect occurred because many people only remember this person to have died, to live in Africa and died, became president and died in 1980, some later in the 1980s, in the late 1980s. Some people recall Nelson Mandela dying in December of 2013. Some remember that Nelson Mandela died in the year 2016. Some haven't even drugged your brain and your biological body and provide you these illusions. And the PSYOP has used the method to calibrate your brain to flip the words A and E. But in all reality, way before PSYOP started, there is a technology which is a super condensed crystal technology, and this super condensed computer, which is an artificial intelligent computer, is far more sophisticated than CERN. As a matter of fact, since the day you entered the earth, your mind has been under war, and the earth is full of deception and illusions. The majority of the things you experience are forced control to generate illusions and deception of your mind. The Mandela effect is pinned around a South African civil activist named Nelson Mandela, who was wrongly imprisoned for roughly 27 years and was released. Now, as I name dates, many of you may not have experienced the same dates and time periods. Some of you may have never even heard of Nelson Mandela. Your minds have been blocked, and this program of the person Nelson Mandela may have never even existed in your reality. And as I speak about this person, it is very possible that this person will become real in your reality, or spawn, S-P-A-W-N, into your reality. This is how fast the human brain is. As we speak these things in the Mandela effect, they will spawn. This is why the scientist from CERN says things change as you look at them. Now, this is partly a deception, and hypnosis. In all reality in your world, things have not normally changed as you look at them, but now you are experiencing these things. This is psychological. Heard of Nelson Mandela, and some believe that he's still alive, and they can actually prove this, they say. Now, sometimes when you go back to try to prove something, you'll see that your reality has been changed. Well, what changed? Was it you, or is it actual reality? The question would be better, where are we in reality? That is the big question. Where are we in reality? You think that you are on the planet Earth and that this is the year 2016. Now, for some of you, you may pick up this recording and you may get this recording right now in another year. And your realities have been turned around. And this video is to help you and to guide you and not to deceive you. And so I will make an announcement that for me and for all entities that approach you, if it is not clear, hard, physical evidence, and if it's not upfront and in real time and closed, then it is intentional or non or unintentional deception. Keep this in mind. Pay attention to all of your senses combined. All of your senses combined, not just the sense of the mind, because as you see now, your mind can be tricked and fooled. You have to pay attention to things that you can actually physically touch. When you see these word changes, of course those are physical books, but remember, hypnosis is very powerful and it does exist. Your mind could have been teaching you lies from the day you was born, and they flipped the switch on you, and now you're confused. But I am here to provide you comfort that, technically speaking, you are not on the planet Earth. So where are you? We call this place heaven. You are experiencing a time lapse. Time is bound inside of a physical place, more or less a box, a supercomputer that you are physically hooked into, and there's chemicals in